Oh, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Perth East Council, this 21st day of April. I'd like to call our meeting to order. If everyone could please bow their head for a moment of reflection. Thank you. We have a motion to confirm the agenda. That the agenda as prepared for the April 21st, 2026 meeting of Council of the Township of Perth East be approved as received. Moved by Bob, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. If you have pecuniary interest, you can disclose that now or as the meeting moves along. Under consent agenda items, we have 10 items. Is there anything anyone would like pulled or they have questions on? If not, we have a motion that items 5.1.1 to 5.1.10 is set out in the consent agenda for the April 21st, 2026 regular meeting of the council be received for information, and that the minutes of April 8, 2025 regular council meeting be adopted. Moved by Jerry, second by Andrew. All in favor? Carried. Okay, under presentations, we have no public presentations, we have no other presentations, and we have no delegations. We do have three public hearings, or excuse me, three public meetings. So we'll read the first verbiage for the first one. I declare this public meeting to be open. This public meeting is being held to consider a proposed zoning bylaw amendment affecting property currently owned by ISSM Farms Inc., care of Ivan Martin, concession 10, North Part, lot 17, 4023, line 80. This meeting is an opportunity for the township to advise the public of the purpose and intent of the amendment and receive their input prior to considering adoption of an implementing bylaw. If a bylaw is adopted to implement the zoning amendment, a notice of passing will be forwarded by prepaid first-class mail to various agencies of interest and others who have requested notice. An appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal objecting to the adoption of the bylaw may be e-filed via the OLT e-file service no later than the date stated on the notice. Any person attending this meeting who wishes to receive written notice of a bylaw passed to implement the amendment is asked to give their name and mailing address to the clerk following this meeting. No written notice, except as previously noted, will be given unless requested in writing following the meeting. All persons attending the meeting will be given an opportunity to be heard or make a presentation. I now will call on our planner, Aubrey, to present the planning report and recommendations. So welcome, Aubrey. Good to see you again. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Agats. Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Zoning bylaw amendment application ZN2-2026 has been submitted by Solomon Martin on behalf of ISSM Farms Inc. for the lands municipally known as 4023 line 80. The applicant is proposing to rezone the subject lands from agriculture to a special agriculture with site-specific provisions for an on-farm diversified use on the property. The site-specific zoning will permit a laser cutting business with a total gross floor area of 1,003.5 meters squared, a parking reduction from 25 spaces to 10 spaces, and an increase of off-farm employees from 2 to 5. In the Perth County Official Plan, the subject lands are designated agriculture with a natural heritage features overlay. In the Perth East zoning bylaw, the subject lands are zoned agricultural zone A and natural resources environment zone 2. The subject lands are used for agricultural production and are occupied with a livestock barn, existing shop, residential dwelling, and accessory structures. The Provincial Planning Statement 2024 and the Perth County Official Plan are supportive of on-farm diversified uses that are compatible or able to coexist with agriculture. The intent of these policies is to allow for small-scale operations that are supportive of and secondary to agricultural production. The proposed expansion would occupy a total area of approximately 7,519 meters squared, which is below the 2% subject lot area maximum in the Perth County Official Plan. Natural areas on the subject property, identified by the Natural Heritage Overlay in the Perth County Official Plan, are separated by over 375 meters from the proposed on-farm diversified use and will not be impacted by the proposed expansion of the operation. The on-farm diversified use has been legally established on the subject lands, and the expansion of the laser cutting business will continue to exist without negative impacts on the surrounding agricultural activities and natural heritage features. In consistency with the provincial regulations, the Perth East zoning bylaw has provisions for secondary farm operations. The application is compliant with the Perth East zoning bylaw as the secondary farm operation is small scale in nature, and it is secondary to farming and conducted by the family residing on the farm. The proposed expansion of the business does not remove prime agricultural lands from production, and the proposed expansion will be located in an existing accessory farm structure within the farm cluster, and the operation will continue to share existing services and laneway access to Line 80. Public notice was provided to the neighboring property owners on April 1st, and there were no public concerns and no agency concerns regarding the application. Staff are supportive of the gross floor area expansion from 372 meters squared to 1,003.5 meters squared, as the additional area requested is within an existing farm building capable of being returned to agricultural uses should the business cease to exist. The building will require a change of use permit from the Perth East Building Department to be used for an on-farm diversified use. The parking reduction request from 25 spaces to 10 spaces is appropriate for the scale and nature of the business. Staff are satisfied that the parking reduction request is specific to this business and location and would continue to be appropriate should the subject property change ownership. The increase of off-farm employees from 2 to 5 is a projection of future needs for the staff of the operation, and staff feel this is suitable to the small-scale nature of on-farm diversified uses and meets the intent of the county and provincial policy. Staff have no concerns with the zone change amendment, and it is the opinion of staff that the zoning bylaw amendment is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms with the Perth County official plan. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Aubrey. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? Seeing no one. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? Seeing no one. Does the applicant or the applicant agent wish to speak? No? Okay. Are there any questions from members of council? You? The lights aren't working, but the microphone is.
Oh, okay. No, just a quick question, the changing of the zoning, so that building and just that building, getting on the, an industrial building, so it would be, that something would make it, that they would pay industrial taxes on that building.
Through you, Mayor Eggets, no, the zoning is agricultural zoning, so it's not changing the use, it stays agricultural. It's just a site-specific agricultural designation.
Okay.
Okay, Mike.
I just want to clarify, and treasurer's here as well. So I think the question was about assessment and taxation. So although the zoning will remain the same, impact looks at the actual use of the facility, so it would be considered an industrial use. So separate to that. The zoning doesn't change, but impact looks at not just zoning, they look at the actual use within the building itself. The treasurer's nodding, so I think I got it right.
Just one quick.
Sure.
Okay, Andrew?
Check. Can you hear me? So to clarify, they're looking, this application is looking for relief from 2 persons to 5 on employees, basically. Is that what we're looking for relief for?
Through you, Mayor Eggets, there are 3 requests for relief. So it's to expand the gross floor area. It's to reduce the parking spaces from 25 to 10 and to increase the off-farm employees from 2 to 5.
So it is, the maximum is 2 at this point.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, council will consider a resolution regarding the plan and report recommendation following the conclusion of the public meeting in bylaw 202-2026 to implement the approval of the zoning application will be considered later within the council agenda. Okay, we will now move to our second public meeting. And we have, this public meeting is currently being held to consider a proposed zoning bylaw amendment affecting property currently owned by Veronica Fry concession 11, part lot 13, part lot 14, as RP 44R 3772, part 2, 4230, line 80. And the preamble is exactly the same, so I'm going to jump right down to Aubrey, and the floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you, Mayor Agates. Zoning bylaw amendment application ZN 3-2026 has been submitted also by Solomon Martin on behalf of Veronica Fry for the lands municipally known as 4230 line 80. The applicant is proposing to rezone the subject lands from agriculture to special agriculture with site-specific provisions for an on-farm diversified use on the property. The site-specific zoning will permit a woodworking business with a total gross floor area of 840 meters squared, a parking reduction from 21 spaces to 9 spaces, and an increase of off-farm employees from 2 to 4. In the Perth County official plan, the subject lands are designated agriculture with a natural heritage features overlay. In the Perth East zoning bylaw, the subject lands are zoned agricultural zone and natural resources environment zone 2. The subject lands are used for agricultural production and are occupied with 2 livestock barns, an existing shop, residential dwelling, and accessory structures. The Provincial Planning Statement 2024 and the Perth County Official Plan are supportive of on-farm diversified uses that are compatible or able to coexist with agriculture. The intent of these policies is to allow for small-scale operations that are supportive of and secondary to agricultural production. The proposed expansion would occupy a total area of approximately 4,194 meters squared, which is below the 2% of the subject lot area maximum in the Perth County Official Plan. Natural areas on the subject property identified by the Natural Heritage Features Overlay in the official plan are separated by over 550 meters from the proposed on-farm diversified use and will not be impacted by the proposed expansion of the operation. The on-farm diversified use has already been legally established on the subject lands, and the expansion of the woodworking business will continue to exist without negative impacts on the surrounding agricultural activities and natural heritage features. The application is compliant with the Perth East zoning bylaw as the secondary farm operation is a small-scale trade operation secondary to farming and conducted by the family residing on the farm. The proposed expansion of the business does not remove prime agricultural lands from production, and the proposed expansion will be located within the farm cluster, and the operation will continue to share existing services and laneway access to Line 80. Public notice was provided to neighboring property owners on April 1st, and there were no concerns from the public or the agencies. Staff are supportive of the gross floor area expansion from 375 meters squared to 840 meters squared, as the additional area requested and building proposed is capable of being returned to agricultural uses should the business cease to exist. The parking reduction request from 21 spaces to 9 spaces is appropriate for the scale and nature of the business. Staff are satisfied that the parking reduction request is specific to this business and location and would continue to be appropriate should the subject property change ownership. The increase of off-farm employees from 2 to 4 is a projection of future needs to staff the operation. Staff feel this is suitable to the small-scale nature of on-farm diversified uses and meets the intent of the county and provincial policy. Planning staff have no concerns with the zone change amendment. It is the opinion of staff that the zoning bylaw amendment is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms with the Perth County official plan. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Aubrey. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? Seeing no one, is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? Seeing no one, does the applicant or the applicant's agent wish to make a presentation or speak with respect to the application? No? Are there any questions from members of council? No? Council will consider a resolution regarding the planning report recommendation following the conclusion of the public meeting by Law 203-2026 to implement the approval of the zoning application will be considered later within the council agenda. Okay, and now we will move to our third public meeting. This public meeting is being held to consider a proposed zoning bylaw amendment affecting property currently owned by Southside Estates Inc., care of Ronald Martin, Plan 363, Part Lot 88, RP 44R 6235, Part 3, which is 13 Cobalt Street, North Milverton. And the preamble, once again, is the same, so we're going to jump right down to Aubrey's. Aubrey?
Thank you. Zoning bylaw amendment application ZN 4-2026 has been submitted by Zaid Kashif Al Gata of K Smart Associates on behalf of Southside Estates for the lands municipally known as 13 Cobalt Street North. The applicant is proposing to rezone the subject lands from residential zone 1 to residential zone 2. The zone change will permit the construction of a semi-detached dwelling. In the Perth County Official Plan, the subject lands are designated neighborhood and zoned residential zone 1 in the Perth East zoning bylaw. The subject lands are currently vacant, but are surrounded by existing and planned residential and Greenwood Park and Cemetery. The Provincial Planning Statement 2024 asserts that settlement areas shall be the focus and growth of development. Both the PPS and the official plan support efficient land use through the intensification in settlement areas. Milverton is a serviced urban area, and intensification is achieved through a compact built form, meaning more units per lot. The zone change from R1 to R2 allows for a gentle shift to a higher density form of housing than a single detached dwelling. The proposed development meets the intent of the Perth County Official Plan as the development makes use of existing municipal services. The proposal is compatible with and adjacent to existing built-up areas in Milverton and has access to an existing local road. The proposal expands the range of available housing options and provides a minor increase to the serviced urban area density and meets the provisions of the R2 zone. Public notice was provided to the neighboring property owners on April 1st. There were no public concerns and no agency comments or concerns regarding the application. Staff are supportive of the application as proposed, and it is the opinion of staff that the zoning bylaw amendment is consistent with the provincial planning statement and conforms with the Perth County Official Plan. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thanks, Aubrey. Is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in opposition of the application? Seeing no one, is there anyone present who wishes to make a presentation or speak in support of the application other than the applicant or the applicant's agent? Seeing no one, does the applicant or the applicant's agent wish to make a presentation or speak with respect to the application?
So through the mayor, councilors, thank you very much for your time today to consider the application that we put forward. I'm Zaid Kashif Al Gata from K Smart Associates on behalf of Southside Estates Incorporated, making this application for a semi-detached dwelling structure. We wanted to affirm our support for the township planning staff's report, and then we're available to answer any questions as needed.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from members of council? You?
Yeah, I think this was an area, if I remember right, there was water problems. And I know in the report you said that that's all been taken care of. I just wanted to absolutely sure that any water problems have been taken care of and I know we'll be getting filling out for the people at Vitals.
So through the mayor, we've been working closely with our engineering colleagues to prepare the servicing plan and the grading plan that we've submitted before you today. Those details will also be implemented through the building permit stage, and we'll go through the building permit process as well. So with the extension of the municipal services up along Cobalt Street, we're coordinating and doing our best with township staff to make sure that there's no problems whatsoever.
Okay, other questions? No questions, and council will consider a resolution regarding the planning report recommendation following the conclusion of the public meeting. Bylaw 204-2026 to implement the approval of the zoning application will be considered later within the council agenda. The public meeting is now concluded, and we will continue with the regular meeting of council. Okay, so the first motion that we have is for the first application, and it reads that the Township of Perth East Council received a report dated April 21, 2026 for ZN 2-2026 submitted on behalf of ISSM Farms Inc. affecting lands described as North Part Lot 17, Concession 10, Mornington Ward, Township of Perth East, municipally known as 4023 Line 80 for information, and that council held a statutory public meeting pursuant to Section 34 of the Planning Act with respect to the zoning bylaw amendment, said N 2-2026, and that council approve zoning bylaw amendment 202-2026. I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Hughes, second by Jeremy. All in favor? Carried. Okay, the next motion is for our second public meeting, and it reads that Council of the Township of Perth East received a report dated April 21st, 2026 for zoning bylaw amendment ZN 3-2026 submitted on behalf of Veronica Fry affecting the lands described as Part Lot 13 and Part Lot 14, Concession 11, Mornington Ward, Township of Perth East, municipally known as 4230 line 80 for information, and that council held a statutory public meeting pursuant to section 34 of the Planning Act with respect to zoning bylaw amendment ZN 3-2026, and that the Township of Perth East Council approved zoning bylaw amendment 203-2026. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Hughes, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. And our third application reads as follows: that the Township of Perth East received a report dated April 21st, 2026 for zoning bylaw amendment ZN 4-2026 submitted on behalf of Southside Estates, Inc., affecting the lands described as Plan 363, Part Lot 88, RP 44R6235, Part 3, Milverton, Township of Perth East, municipally known as 13 Cobalt Street North for information, and the council held a statutory public meeting pursuant to section 34 of the Planning Act with respect to zoning bylaw amendment ZN 4-2026, and that council approved zoning bylaw amendment 204-2026. Moved by Jerry, second by Andrew. All in favor? Carried. Okay, thank you, everyone. Okay, now moving on, we have no public hearings. We have nothing from planning, nothing from the CAO. We move down to the clerk, and it's a council schedule and remuneration. So I'll turn it over to Ashley.
Okay, thanks, Mayor Eggetts. So tonight, I'm presenting the council remuneration comparator and council meeting schedule report. This report responds to council direction that was provided August 12th of 2025. Council had directed staff to review the council per diems and meeting schedules across comparator municipalities. So 32 municipalities were contacted with a questionnaire, 21 responses were received, and full survey results are attached to the report. A few key takeaways, so starting with remuneration, right now Perth East provides above average based compensation, which is on page 2 or page 145 of the council package, and that's across all roles, so mayor, deputy mayor, and councillor. The per diem structure, though, is uneven. So on average, the half-day rate is above average, but the full-day rate is significantly below average. And then in regard to the meeting schedule, of the municipalities that responded, 9 are evening only, and of the 9, only 3 consistently meet at 7 p.m. 11 of those use a daytime and evening mix, and 2 are strictly daytime meeting only. So the takeaway from that is that the most common approach is not fully evening based, it's more of a hybrid model. So the operational realities of our current structure, we are strictly evenings. Staff consists of the clerk or deputy clerk needing to be present, CAO, and managers. Right now, non-management staff receive approximately 14 extra days off in accumulated leave time for attending council meetings, which can lead to increased absences throughout regular scheduled work, scheduling challenges, and then reduced daytime staff availability. The time off in lieu, the average amount, the cost is on page 4 of the report, or 147 of the package. So it ranges from approximately $7,500 to $14,000, depending on what staff are in attendance. So that's expenses for time off in lieu, what that total would equal. And outlined in the report as well, then there's 4 options. The first option is to remain status quo. Second option would be to introduce a hybrid model. So having a mix of daytime and evening meetings. Option 3 is doing a quarterly daytime pilot approach. And then option 4 is strictly daytime meetings. And the other takeaways from the survey, our mileage, Perth East mileage is similar rates across those that responded, as well as conferences. Those questions were asked in the survey as well, so those are consistent. And I think I will leave it at that for now. I can answer any questions or try to answer any questions or provide more information if there's any.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments, Hugh?
Just on the mileage, the CRA put out a figure it would be, and we need
Okay, other questions, Jerry?
I assume, thanks through you, Mayor, I assume we're gonna split this into 2 different motions, I would assume.
You can, yes.
I'd like to speak on both from there. The first one being compensation. I think we are in line with our yearly stipends, mayor, deputy mayor, councilors. Again, the half-day per diem is in line as well. The full day per diem, I think it needs to be increased to whether it's to the average of the townships that were surveyed or slightly lower. That's just my thoughts on the per diems. Keeping the conferences, that's fine. Again, it's that full day per diem that, as you can see, we are a little low compared to the ones that were surveyed. So that's my points on the first part.
Okay, anyone else? Hugh?
I understand the full day isn't where it should be, but on all our pay and things like that were ahead of the curve. So I would just, for now, anyway, just leave it with because all of us are quite a bit there.
Anyone else? Okay, Amanda?
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, great. Really good report, Ashley. Thank you for pulling it together. I'm just more going to speak on the hybrid versus day versus evening meetings, and I might sound like a broken record on this, but something for council members to think about is I think if we move to strictly daytime meetings or in some cases hybrid, it would eliminate a certain segment of folks that would be able to run on council, like people like myself that do have a day job that is more traditional. And it also may limit some public participation. We do have a lot of farmers and blue collar workers in Perth East, and a lot of them work 9 to 5. So it might eliminate some of their participation, not for everybody, because there's people that do night shifts as well. So I just think those are some things to consider because it just eliminates a certain demographic. On the flip side, it might be easier for staff. And I know staff has talked about staff retention and attracting new folks as well. I think that we currently offset a lot of that through the time off. I think what I'm interested too is since we currently offer that, if that extra week gets taken away, is that going to be a problem for staff that currently get that now, or whether they'll see it as a benefit? I don't know. So anyways, just wanted to add my voice to the conversation. I'm pretty comfortable with the compensation, although like, again, I think that I typically don't always go to the conferences and things like that just because our honorarium just doesn't cover anywhere close to where I need to be for me to leave my day job. But in general, I think it's for the most part okay.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Andrew,
Is on?
it's on. They don't look like they're on, but they're on.
No, it is a great report. It's really good to see the level of detail in the staff report. It's pretty comprehensive. Good question, what brought it on. I know from the perspective of council wages, we took a big increase. I think a council went from 14 to almost 19 and was it 2021 or 2020? So that's a pretty big hit. I don't think I would be in favor of increasing, any pay to including the per diems, just because of that large amount of increase that year. We got a little maybe loo time to kind of, what would we call that when you don't get a raise for a number of years because you got one before? But I think that I'm not in favor of that. So the daytime meetings, and I never thought about it much until we read the report and that. So driving in the winter, me coming from Southeast Hope and people coming from all over, staff members coming from wherever, driving in the night and winter is really not good. So this may alleviate some of that. The shift worker thing, I can relate to that from taking time off to come to night meetings while working shifts. So I'm not sure whether we can really account for that. And I think from what I'm reading here, there may be a good potential cost savings for the township for going to straight day meetings. So just based on that list I made from the report, yeah, I would say I have an opinion on where we should go with both the items.
Okay, just maybe for clarification, Paula, the chart that we have here, that's the only cost savings there are, correct? That's on
Correct.
page 147, is that?
Yeah, it would be the in lieu time that you would be saving.
Okay. Other questions? You?
If we did change the daytime, that would also mean that the managers would change too. Like since we got somebody new and they wouldn't get that new time or that those days off because they're no longer working at night.
You would have less vacation time that you would be paying out and less time that the chairs would be vacant. However, we don't backfill when managers are out. We don't have a substitute come in and fill in and do the work while they're away. So we're paying them whether they're here or they're on vacation. So there's no savings really. It's just there's that week that they wouldn't be not at the desk.
But you're still paying.
You're still paying them no matter what.
So even now they get the extra.
No,
Okay, they get extra holiday.
yeah.
But that's still off. Because they're not here, so somebody does have the name for it. When you're not here, like somebody's still gotta be looking after if the manager's not here. If the place runs with no man.
On a short-term basis, I guess it does. The frontline staff would fill in, like the mid-level management would fill in and answer questions as possible, as much as they could. However, there'll be those items that have to wait until the manager comes back currently, because we don't backfill.
Okay, Jeremy? They are on. The
Oh,
lights just aren't working.
right. I'm like, I mean, we've all heard my opinion on this over the last number of years when I talk about county council being 100% during the day. And that eliminates that huge swath of folks like Amanda and myself that are, career-oriented folks that we just can't do that. And if we do that at Perth East as well, even if that person is willing or can spend the time off work to go to county, then we're effectively doubling that. I don't think option 4, to me, not just for council and the people that we can recruit to beyond council. It's not just that, but it's also the fact that we are now asking the public to take time off work to come to a council meeting as well. It doesn't mean something less important to them because they can't take work off, yay or nay. Sometimes they just can't get here. And I think option 4 is absolutely a no-go for us. The savings being $11,000 to $15,000 a year. The work has to get done. We have salaried employees. They have to get it done irrespective of what's happening and whether they're taking an extra week of holidays or not. So option 4 is not an option at all, I don't think. Option 3 is intriguing. Maybe that helps us to recruit some other people that might want to run for council with, quarterly daytime meetings. I think as it states in there that it's a low risk trial approach, like it says, I'd be in favor of option 3. I think option 4 is absolutely a no-go. The others there's pros and cons to them for me, but I think I would be in favor of option 3. It might give me an extra evening at home with my family every quarter. And as far as the per diems go, it does cost me a lot of money to take a day off work to attend a conference, and I do think that needs to be increased. Looking at the averages of the areas that we surveyed, I don't think we can effectively use the average of those areas because those areas are also all over the place. There's no area that we surveyed that's exactly like us. So I do feel like we need to, make our own decisions on that. Per diem needs to go up somehow, and I'm willing to move to option 3.
Okay, anyone else? Bob?
So I guess there's a couple different ways to look at this, and obviously one is councilor point of view, and I chose not to look at that. As councilors come and go in 4-year terms, so I've concentrated on staff part, which I think to be a progressive municipality and offer good staff morale or a good staff culture will help retain staff. We've obviously experienced significant amount of turnover. We've heard some of the reasons why, whether people don't like to drive at night in winter, spend time with their families, work-life balance to be concentrated so late at night. So I've looked at the staff efficiencies. It's probably not helpful to be here till 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, drive home, unwind, and come in all fresh tomorrow. So spending probably all night talking about all the different scenarios, but do think for the betterment for at least down the road, moving to daytime meetings has a lot of advantages for staff, not for counselors, but over the years, people come and stay, bring them to find another opportunity. So if there's an opportunity to retain staff, I think that's where your savings is going to come. Not so worried about the diems, remuneration. I think at the end of the day, as get older and retire, there's less people out there to fill these jobs. And a small rural municipality will continue to struggle to find good people to come and fill their jobs. And I think offering daytime meetings is one way to take a step.
Is that, are we
Sorry.
suggesting full daytime meetings or what's the?
I haven't really got into the weeds yet, Jeremy. I'm just offering my opinion, see where it goes. Whether it's a hybrid.
Okay, Hugh?
Yeah, and I understand the daytime meetings, but I mean, this is not Northeast Open, it's not 1976 no more. And Northeast Open used to have council meetings, people showed up. Nobody shows up at the meetings. Now people may do that online now, but I mean, even like tonight, we had 3 planning things, and for 2 of the 3, nobody showed up. And secondly, when you've got somebody showing up and planning, you've got to pay them extra. That's, so you've got, so people have extra costs. To come at night, and most of the people don't come. So at least the minimum from November the first, to March the 31st, daytime meetings. Nobody driving in.
We can do all of these online meetings too, right? We always have the virtual option. We have Amanda virtually right now. There's no reason to move them to say driving's an issue for us when we can do this online. If the weather's bad, staff's working from home anyway.
But most times we all go.
That's your decision if you drive in the snow. It's not mine.
Yeah, but you live in town, you can walk.
Okay, okay, that's enough. Anyone else, Jerry?
No, second. Yeah, I've heard both sides. I obviously appreciate staff being here when they can. I'm looking at more of a slow approach. So option 3 is what I would be leaning towards. And have it as a pilot. Perhaps the next term of council, when they may look at it, depending on how this goes. If it's decide on a pilot, you're obviously going to know how long, but perhaps halfway through the next term, that's when council looks at it again, and let's say option 3 goes, and we do the pilot for the first 2 years, and after that 2 years or a year and a half, whatever, the new council will say, hey, this is working okay, let's go to the full daytime. So I'd be looking at option 3 to start with. That's the pilot project, and heard my thoughts on the first part on the end.
Okay. All right, anyone else before we, Andrew?
So I guess I better say I'm in favor of option 4. So everybody seemed to said what they want.
Okay, so Jerry suggested we split it apart in motions, and I think we'll do that. The first motion will be about the remuneration. Okay, we're gonna have 3 motions. So the first motion is that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report entitled Council Remuneration Comparator and Council Meeting Schedule, CLE-2026-15, dated April 21st, 2026, prepared by the Manager of Legislative Services / Municipal Clerk for information. That's just receiving report. Moved by Jerry, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we'll have a motion to do with the compensation. Who wants to just say what? Jerry?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we move the only thing that we change is the full day per diem to the municipal average. Everything else can stay the same.
Okay, so
Yes.
we have a seconder. Jeremy? I'll read the motion, and then if people want to make comments before we vote. Let's get down to a second here. Okay, so the motion is that council use the Perth East compensation when changing the per diem full day per diem to the municipal average, which is $361.78. Correct? Okay, so that was moved by Jerry, second by Jerry. Now questions or comments? Andrew?
Thank you, Marriott. I'll just be consistent on this, and I'm in the past not even asked for council increases on a yearly basis. If we even considered moving, because the half day is above average, right? We're not moving it down to average. So I'm going to say I'm not going to be able to support this. I think it's just way too much money. I'm not in it for the money. Got to take time off. You got to take time off.
Anyone else? If not, I'll call the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Sorry, Amanda, which way did you vote? I didn't catch your hand.
Sorry, in favor.
You voted in favor? Okay, so then it's carried.
Recorded vote.
Recorded vote, okay.
Okay, Counselor Broadhagen,
Yay.
Counselor McAlpine,
Nay.
Counselor Matheson, Counselor McMillan,
Yay.
Counselor Smith,
Yay.
Deputy Mayor McDermott, and Mayor Eggetts.
Yay.
Okay, so it's 4 yay and 3 nays, so the motion is carried.
Okay, and who wants to put what option on the floor? Bob?
So before we deal with that, could I make a motion to change the remuneration to the, also the municipal average? Be lowering all the council pay to the municipal average, rather than being where we are, which way above 18%, 14, whatever.
If you wish. Put you on those. Okay, do we have a seconder? Andrew?
Just confirming that's for all positions, mayor, deputy, and councilors.
Oh, sorry, Andrew. Andrew second. Yes. So the motion is that council change remuneration for all positions to the municipal average. Questions, comments? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed? Carried. Okay. Who wants to do what next? Jerry?
I'll move option 3 for the next part.
And do we have a seconder? Jeremy? Okay, so the motion is that council proceed with option 3 from report CLE-2026-15, and it staff be directed to prepare amendments to the procedure bylaw to reflect this decision to develop any necessary supporting policies. And option 3 is to have a quarterly daytime pilot converting 1 meeting per quarter to daytime.
Evaluate this then, or we planning to move this back in 2 years?
That would be up to the new council. We can correct what they're going to do. Okay, Amanda?
Just on this one, I think it's a good concept in terms of meeting in the middle. The only thing that I would say is that it may provide a bit of stability issues for both potential candidates that want to run and also staff, because you don't really know which way we're going to end up staying. So, for example, hypothetically, if somebody is more in favor of evening meetings and we collectively find as the pilot that it's, people are really liking the daytime meetings, then you may have people potentially leaving partway through the term. Or if you're recruiting staff, like new staff, like that also might be if, for example, you created somebody who, came from a municipality, had daytime meetings. Anyways, that's the only issue that I have with this one. But I think it's a good meet in the middle. I'm obviously in favor of status quo, more so because I think I am the youngest person on this council, and I think the second is Jeremy, and we're both probably the least in favor of full-time day meetings. So anyways, that would be my only caution with this option. But I think hearing from the vast majority of folks around the table, like there seems to be a mix in terms of where people want to go on this one.
Okay, anyone else with questions? Andrew?
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe not so much of a question. I can definitely relate to missing work to come to meetings. So I calculated I missed between $6,000 and $10,000 the first term a year, having to come to library board at night, and the council meetings at night. So you want to do the job? I'm just throwing it out as a theoretical here, or do you want to make money? You have to pick and choose. Either you can get time off from your employer, or you can, maybe it's not for you. So that's what I would say with choosing between work and that. So it can be done, and I'm living proof. So that's where I'm at with that.
Okay, anyone else? Bob?
So all of the options were given some thought. Yes, the more getting into the weeds of it and the actual rollout would be based on what council decided. So we'd spend more time actually rolling that out. But the initial thought would be in each quarter, we would meet in the second month in the afternoon or morning, whatever, again, time council directed. Opposite days of when Perth South would meet during the morning. So there's a few logistics that have to actually get worked out. But initial thought would be the middle month of each quarter would be when daytime or alternate meeting time. It maybe wasn't 9 a.m. or 2 p.m. It could have been 5 p.m. That.
Okay, anyone else? Amanda?
Just to add a final piece on this, because I think some of the discussion has been around council versus staff. And I think we're missing a big piece in terms of civic engagement. I've actually done a little bit of reading in terms of pros and cons on my own in terms of council. And I think I just want to reiterate it's about civic engagement, right? So again, there are people of the public, like we're using tonight as a poor example in terms of the gallery, but there's been a lot of times where the gallery is full. And again, we have a lot of blue collar folks. This is not a mostly retirement area. And we have a lot of farmers as well in the township. And so I do think that this is a big thing when it comes to civic engagement. So I would just caution that it's It is a big decision. It's not just about council versus staff. It's also about the public and their ability to participate fully. Obviously, we've come a long way in terms of accessibility with regards to having our council meetings live streamed and recorded for folks to join from the comfort of their home or to listen to later to become informed. But for people that actually want to chime in, it can be a bit of a challenge for some folks. So just adding that dynamic because the discussion seemed to be a focus about people making money, and I don't think that's what this is about.
Okay, anyone else? If not, then we do have a motion, and it's to go with option 3, quarterly daytime pilot, convert 1 meeting per quarter to daytime. All of those in favor? Opposed? Defeated. Okay, who's next? Jerry? No? Okay, Jeremy?
I'll move up. Option 2, hybrid model.
What's the difference between option 2 or 1 meeting per month with due date? Okay, Jeremy's moving to option 2. Do we have a seconder? Hugh? Comments? Andrew?
If I just may make a quick comment about the time the meeting will occur, I would prefer personally, just for continuity, at the beginning of the day or the absolute end of the day. I know it kind of says that here, but I'm not sure a long meeting may take it into, after supper, if it starts at 1 in some cases. So I would prefer, I guess I'm saying, it's a morning meeting. It's not part of the vote, but that's fine.
Okay, I don't think that's written in stone. That would have to be decided once. So if that's the route that went, I think then it would have to be up for discussion, whether it be afternoon or mornings. Okay, anyone else want to say anything before we vote? We have a motion moved by Jeremy, second by Hugh, that we go with option 2, which is 1 daytime meeting per month, a hybrid model. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Defeated. Who else? We could be here all night. Andrew?
We'll run out of options, but I'll try number 4, please.
Okay, do we have a seconder for option 4? You? And option 4 is to go to all daytime meetings. Comments? And Jeremy?
Yeah, if we want to eliminate 40% of our demographic from attending council meetings, it's being made into a monetary issue. It's never been about making money for me. It's about public service. I'm also trying to achieve career goals too. And if we want to make it a council full of people that are retired or farming and eliminate everyone else, then that's the decision that we're making here tonight. And I'm sorry to put it in that kind of context, but someone like Amanda and myself, it's not achievable for a lot of people. I'll be able to do this, but we're going to be eliminating a full swath of other people from this. And I hope we're making the decision for the right reasons tonight with that point.
Okay, anyone else? Jerry?
Yeah, thanks through you, Mayor. And I think perhaps we leave this to the next term of council. We've had these meetings set like this since 1998, I believe, since amalgamation, where it's always evening in Perth East. Again, we went through all the other options, so perhaps option 1 should have been maybe moved. But we have a mover and a second on the floor for this option. But yeah, as Councilor Matheson mentioned, we have younger folks, we have different demographics that would like to be on council, but now this perhaps may just turn them away. And be losing out on some good people. So yeah, I can't support full daytime meetings at this point. I do understand staffing, we went through all of that. We'll see what happens.
Okay, anyone else? So the motion is to go with option 4, all daytime meetings. All those in favor? Those opposed? Defeat. Okay. We got one left. Anybody want to move that one? Or what do you want to do?
I've been the
I'll
most
move
vocal opponent to have it beginning, and I'm willing to compromise because I realize the importance of stuff. If we're sitting here not willing to compromise to keep it some semblance of what we have now, I think we've already lost it. I think this discussion has gone way too far already. This is really disappointing.
Amanda, did you want to say something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, Jerry?
So again, we've got the next term of council, let's move option 1 and see where that goes. Yeah, I understand the issue with staff. It certainly would save us some funds, some monies, and help keep staff, but let's start. I think the next term of council should determine this because those folks are running now knowing that the meetings are at night.
So you're moving that? Are you moving that? Yes. Okay, do we have a seconder? Not till I get my seconder. Sorry. Do I have a seconder? Amanda? Okay, now you can go, Bob. Yep, suggest it, and that can be part of the discussion and where we go. But no, we got a motion on the floor. We have to vote on it first, but everybody knows that you have another option. So any more questions or comments on option 1, which is status quo? No change. Jerry?
I'd be willing to withdraw the motion. Councilor McMillan offer his next motion. If that's legally allowed.
Okay, and Amanda, are you good with that?
I actually could not hear Bob. So for whatever reason, whether his mic isn't working or whatnot, I actually couldn't hear what he said.
Do you want to use Jerry's? I don't want to say it for you. Do you want to use Jerry's mic?
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
That's good.
Well, yeah, so the gist of it, Amanda, was we went through all the options, so I was gonna suggest just a tweaking of what is basically the hybrid, one daytime, one evening meeting. It's too bad we've kind of went through all the options and now we're left with the status quo, so that's just right.
So if I may, I withdraw that, our motion about option 1.
As a seconder, are you willing to withdraw?
I'll withdraw. I still don't really understand what the other option is.
Well, we don't know what it is yet. Bob hasn't spit it out. So he
Oh, okay.
just said that he thought of another option, but we already have the other motion on the floor. So if you withdraw your motion, then we'll let Bob talk. And then we'll,
But wouldn't it make more sense to keep for Bob to bring it up during discussion and then decide if we want to withdraw or we can't do that?
they're saying no. Staff are saying no. 'Cause their motion's
Oh,
on the
okay,
floor.
got it.
Yeah.
I can withdraw. Yeah, happy to withdraw.
Okay. Bob? Use Jerry's mic, I think. It's Amanda can't hear yours.
Okay, so we'll call this option 5. So it's basically a one daytime meeting, one evening meeting. Just call the meeting at 9 o'clock. So that's a little different than option 2, right?
9 a.m.
9 a.m., not 9 p.m. And, you know, the weeds are, staff will have to figure out, is this the first meeting of the month? Is this the second, whatever logistics of planning and,
I'm not sure how that's different from the hybrid model or procedure. That's what I'm on.
well, I just thought hybrid 2 doesn't have a time, so I'm
Well,
suggesting
it
a
does have a
time.
time. It does have a time. On top of page 148, it does have times. 2 times, 9 a.m. or 9:30 or afternoon 1 p.m.
Say,
It's just one time. That's,
to be honest, yeah, staff would have looked for the motion to be specific if we could, as it relates to the time. So, yeah, I think if, as long as council's comfortable, I think we're fine to bring this motion in the form that Councilor McMillan has raised it, that it's very specific in terms of 9 a.m. Evening meeting will be at 7 p.m. Getting a nod, so that that's quite specific as it relates to each of the meetings per month.
okay, so procedurally, that's good. You're saying? Okay, so Bob's, are you moving that?
That's my motion, yes.
Do we have a seconder for that? Hugh? Discussion? Okay, so it's moving, there's an option 5. Each meeting per month, there's one morning meeting at 9 a.m. and one evening meeting at 7 p.m. Darren,
Just for clarification, then this would be up for the start of the new term or?
yes, that'll be in the fall, first November.
Yeah, I would recommend December, keep the inaugural meeting at 7 p.m. still, and then December would be the start.
Okay, clear as mud. We've been around the circle a couple times here. So any more comments before I call the vote? Everybody realize what they're voting on? All those in favor? Opposed? And it's carried. Okay, I think that's all we need, right, for that?
At this point.
At this point, okay. Then we will move to finance. And we have Paula with the January to March 2026 year-to-date. Paula, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Agates. Before council tonight is the January to March 2026 year-to-date report. Overall, the majority of departments are tracking close to the expected 25% benchmark for this point in the year. It's important to note that these point-in-time comparisons vary slightly by department and do not always fully reflect actual activity, as some revenues and expenditures are seasonal or cyclical in nature. A few items from the analysis from the first quarter to highlight. First, on the revenue side, the township realized a significant gain of approximately 2.8 million from the sale of principal protected notes, or PPNs, during the first quarter of 2026. This reflects favorable market conditions and aligns with the township's investment objectives of preserving capital while optimizing returns. Second, the winter maintenance expenditures are trending higher than expected. As of March 31st, approximately 54% of the annual budget has been spent. This is due to heavier snowfall and more frequent winter weather events earlier in this year. Staff will continue to monitor this closely. Third, heating costs are also trending above budget for most areas. This is mainly due to colder than normal temperatures, as well as in Public Works Department, the Milverton shop's wood stove had broken down for a period, making them more reliant on alternate heating sources. So aside from these items, departments are generally operating within expectations, and no other significant variances have been identified at this time. Reserve and capital transfer entries are not reflected in this report and will be addressed later in the year. And staff will continue to monitor all variances and report back to council through future year-to-date updates. And thank you. This concludes my report. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, thanks, Paula. Questions of the report, Andrew?
Thank you, Mary Agates. The PPNs, that's good news.
Yeah.
Where will we see that those funds go? Where do they typically go? Or I know you just said you're gonna show us later, but just in general, maybe do they go into capital, or where do they go? Or is there gonna be reserves, or what's?
Just off the top of my head, we would address that at year end on the surpluses when we address that. Just off the top of my head, I would probably earmark the asset reserve or the general corporate reserve.
Okay, so we may not actually see that number. It might be something depending on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, other questions? If not, we have a motion. Council of the Township of Perth East received a report prepared by the Manager of Financial Services / Treasurer dated April 21st, 2026, entitled January-March 2026 year-to-date for information. Moved by Hugh, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. Okay, and the next report is the 2026 tax rates. Paula?
Thanks again, Mayor Agates. So my final report for council tonight is the township's 2026 tax rate. The township's budget passed or was deemed approved on December 8th, 2025. Property assessment values in Ontario are determined by the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, or MPAC. It is important to note that the property assessments have been frozen since 2020, and properties continue to be taxed based on 2016 assessment values. At this time, the province has not confirmed when reassessments will resume, and ongoing consultation suggests delays may extend beyond the 2026 taxation year. When reassessments do resume, we can expect shifts in property values across classes, which may in turn affect how the tax burden is distributed and could lead to future changes in the tax ratios. Each year, the county is required to set tax ratios for all property classes. These ratios determine how tax rates for different classes, such as commercial and industrial, compare to the residential tax rate, which is legislated at a ratio of 1. For 2026, the county approved maintaining the existing tax ratios on March 19th, 2026. This means there are no changes to the tax ratios from the 2025 taxation year. In summary, the 2026 tax rates have been established based on existing assessment values and unchanged tax ratios, as indicated in Schedules A and B attached to the report. Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you. Questions of the report? We have a motion that Council of the Township of Perth East receive the report entitled 2026 Tax Rates, FIN-2026-10, prepared by the Manager of Financial Services - Treasurer dated April 21st, 2026 for information, and that bylaw 21-2026 being a bylaw to adopt the annual tax rates for the year of 2026 be given 3 weeks. We need a mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Andrew, second by Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're moving on to no reports from Public Works, no reports from Building and Bylaw Enforcement, no reports from Parks, Recreation, Community Services, and nothing from Fire. So we're down to correspondence. We have one letter from Kathy Schweitzer, the Optimist Club, and they're requesting that the move for the Easter egg hunt for 2027 be moved to the Perth East Library as well as the Perth Township parking lot. So I know we own the library, but I wonder if we should send that to staff and let them go to the library board and let them weigh in on what they wish to do. Okay, so we do have a motion that the Council of the Township of Perth East receive and accept correspondence request to move Easter egg hunt 2027 to the Perth East Public Library and Municipal Parking Lot dated April 9, 2026 regarding a request to change space for the Optimist Club Easter egg hunt 2027, and that council refer to staff for a follow-up report. Mover and a seconder, moved by Hugh, second by Jerry. favor? Carried. Okay, now we're down to council and committee reports, and first of all, there's my mayor's meeting log where I was for the month of March. Any questions where I was, what I did? And we'll move to council reports. Jerry has OPP report.
Thanks through you, Mayor. Just a quick verbal on the OPP board for county. As Vice Chair, the chair called a meeting with west, north, as well east and south and the county. We had, as in regards to updating, getting our road closed signs updated. Well, that was held last Friday. Very good, couple hours there. Mike was there. Yeah, I'm looking to perhaps do a delegation at AMO as well, see where that would go for funding, but overall, there was a member from the ministry there as well. He took all our questions, and it was a very good meeting amongst all of our partners. So I don't think anything else to want to add, like movement on that.
Yeah, I think the primary concern that's come from the detachment board is something that's shared, I think, with all councils for county as well as the county's safety. When we have these dramatic winters that we've had the last couple of years, and ways to reduce the amount of traffic that is happening on our roads, in particular when they are closed. So signage is one of the options that's talked about, but I think we're also, the board and the OBP in particular, are looking at education and maybe some real enforcement, which is probably a strong message that needs to be sent as well. But I think overall it's about trying to create a safe environment for all of our staff that have to be out on those roads, whether it's EMS, public works, fire. It's reducing the amount of traffic on those roads when the weather is bad. It makes sense for everybody involved. Hopefully we can come up with some good solutions that the OBP and all the member partners can agree on.
Thanks, Mike. And Chief Hunter was also in attendance there too. I think the fire and safety is of the utmost importance. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other reports? Jeremy?
The Wilburton Business Association says going May the 2nd, the MAC 10 to 2.
Okay. We have a motion then to okay, the mayor's meeting log dated 2026 and the verbal reports by council members of council for Jerry and the OPP be received for information. Moved by, and Jeremy, sorry. Moved by come on, Amanda and Hugh. All in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're down to bylaws. We have 8 bylaws, and they're read first, second, third, and final reading. So we have bylaw 21-2026, a bylaw to adopt the tax levies for the year 2026. 202-26, a bylaw to amend bylaw 30-1991, and that's 202-2026. Third one is 203-2026, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 30-1991. The next one is 204-2026, and it's a bylaw to amend again 30-1991. Bylaw 105-2026, a bylaw to provide for the final assessment for the Ohm municipal drain of 2024. Bylaw 106-2026, a bylaw to provide for the final assessment of the East Black Creek municipal drain in 2024. 107-2026, a bylaw for final maintenance on the Rostock municipal drain, and 108-2026, a bylaw for final maintenance on the Wartburg branch of the Center Black Creek municipal drain. Let these live bylaws be listed and read at first, second, third, and final time. Need a mover and a seconder for all that. Moved by Hughes, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. Okay, do we have any notice of motions? Any other business? Announcements? 2 or 3 announcements. Oh, go ahead, Jerry.
If I may, Milverton Firefighter Association breakfast is May the 3rd, the pre-Mother's Day breakfast. 8 until 1.
Okay. And I have 2 or 3 announcements. The other night, I had the privilege of attending the rural urban dinner. Hugh was there on behalf of the county. I was there as mayor of Perth East, and we had some winners from Perth East. So on behalf of council and the township of Perth East, I'd like to extend our sincere congratulations to Richard and Jean Smelsky on their induction into the 2026 Agriculture Wall of Fame at the Stratford Perth Museum. Their honor recognizes not only their lifelong dedication to agriculture, but also their strong commitment to community. Through their work on the farm, their leadership in the agriculture sector, and their volunteer efforts, the Smelskys have made a lasting impact here in Perth East. Richard and Jean, we're proud to call you part of our community. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. And then the other 2 things that I have for announcements, tomorrow night is our volunteer appreciation, 6:30 at the Perth.
We don't have to.
No, we're not serving this year. Last year we changed the format where it's more finger food. And then on Thursday, the 23rd, at Whaley Street, there's tree planting. Everybody come prepared, bring your shovel. It's always a fun time, 12 o'clock noon, correct? Okay, any other announcements? No, okay, we do have a need for a closed session. So we have a motion. That the regular meeting of council of the Township of Perth East be temporarily adjourned at 8:21 p.m. to permit the holding of a meeting in closed session for the purpose of number 1, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and the second one, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. Need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Hugh, second by Jerry. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks everyone else.